So last month I released a video on the sex minigames in the God of War franchise. We had some laughs, we had some fun, we reminisced. And throughout, I felt compelled to bloat my script, spending hundreds of words attempting to pin down every possible caveat that might be levied against me in the comments. Now, I know what you might be thinking, I know what you might be saying. I understand that I'm not saying that every single I restrained myself. But honestly, all of the comments so far have been very cool and supportive. Maybe it's just the video's currently sitting just over 7K views, and most of those are from my own subscribers. And apparently my subscribers are just cool, chill people, because I haven't gotten that expected backlash. I thought there'd be a lot more, well, actuallys, and oh, you just don't get it.
If you watch the show, the boob window on her suit is clearly satirical. It's a meta-commentary on human sexuality. And also—
Still, most of the people who are skeptical of feminist critique, they're skeptical because there is often a plausible path away from the option that none of us want. None of us want the media we loved to participate in creating a harmful social environment, especially not by accident, especially if there are seemingly good people behind it, because those things make it extra scary. That might mean that we, good people ourselves, can accidentally act or create in ways that cause harm. That's the path we don't want. So I understand why people seek solace from the other path, from maybe this thing that you're criticizing was intentional and important and necessary. Have you heard the narcissist's prayer? It goes, that didn't happen. And if it did, it wasn't that bad. And if it was, that's not a big deal. And if it is, that's not my fault. And if it was, I didn't mean it. And if I did, you deserved it. I think we could write something similar for this alternate media criticism path. This depiction of women is not sus. And if it is, it's because it serves the story. And if it doesn't, it's in line with the character. And if it's not, you just didn't get it. And if you did, you weren't in the target audience. And if you were, you're blowing it out of proportion. There are a lot of things to fall back on. It was a different time. It was being historically accurate. This show about dragons in a fictional world was being historically accurate. Gay women can like looking at naked ladies on screen too. Why are you excluding gay women from your analysis by failing to acknowledge that lesbians like titties? Never mind that just because gay women like looking at naked ladies doesn't preclude some portrayal from feeding. Okay, it seems like we're just getting right into it, so all right, yeah, let's go. Counterpoint number 1. What about the lesbians? I wasn't gonna do this one first, but here we are. What about the lesbians? I used to be in a group chat where me and my friends would talk about fiction writing. And I was talking about Nier Automata and how I didn't get it. Like the outfits, like the boob window. Why the boob window?
the boob window on her suit is clearly satirical. Also, it serves as a metaphor for how—
So I asked, hey, anyone know if there's a story reason for the boob window? I don't want to be uncharitable about the boob window. People who defend the design say, these characters are literally sexless robots. You fucking idiot. She looks like a woman, but she's not. She's a robot. Why are you making it weird? You're the one making it weird, actually.
It makes sense in context, and also, the original mangaka intended an allusion to the final scene of the Grapes of Wrath.
But I just wanted to know why the combat robot got her titties out and her high heels on. Is this tactical? Was she a sex robot repurposed last minute for combat? Because that'd be hilarious. Was she created by the greatest engineering mind of our generation, who also just so happened to be the horniest man who ever lived? But we're at war, so we gotta take what we can get. Effectively, was there an attempted story reason for the boob window? I thought that maybe once I knew the secret reason for her exposure, I would feel ashamed of my words and deeds. So a friend pointed me to an article where the creator himself is asked this exact question, and he gives an explanation. Hooray! Authorial intent! That's a good start.
Why does a combat android have heels?
1万年
So the game is actually set 10,000 years in the future from this moment in time. And so I decided to kind of think freely and willfully, really, and then came up with, a girl wearing heels in the future.
That is so fucking revolutionary. Science fiction can show us things we truly never dreamed of. Honestly, it's fine. It's just refreshing to hear the creator come out and say the only thing that we know to be true. Because then he adds...
But the biggest reason is that I just really like girls.
We know. We all know. You know, I know. Thank you for saying it. No more playing coy, we can all just say it.
No, I just wanted to see titties.
She's designed this way because it's hot. Power Girl has a boob window because it's hot. Quiet wears no clothes because it's hot. I know her secret, and I am not ashamed of my words and deeds. I'm gonna get into this later, but it is okay for a character to just be hot. Counterpoint number 2. Oh my god, I still haven't talked about the lesbians. I said that I started that conversation about Nier Automata in a group chat with friends. The crux of the conversation did not end up being about sci-fi world building or authorial intent or characterization, but instead it was, it seems like you're suggesting that this design exists to titillate straight men? Well, I am a bisexual woman and I like looking at tits. Why are you erasing gay and bisexual women? I could say that exactly who feels sexual pleasure from looking at these women is, actually, beside the point. Also, I think we should be able to agree that just because we like looking at something doesn't mean we can't criticize it or shouldn't criticize it. And because we often frame misogyny as something that is done to women by men, some people seem to think that if a woman can approve of something, it must mean that the portrayal is uncomplicated, unobjectionable. It's like, if this woman says this makes me uncomfortable, and another woman says, well, it doesn't make me uncomfortable, then the opinions just cancel each other out. But we're not firing our Dragon Ball bisexual energy beams at each other in a permanent stalemate. These conversations aren't a test of strength with the winner getting to determine whether something is problematic. These are discussions that can help us learn more about each other and the world we all live in. Our identities and pasts affect our experiences of media and of the world. Can you hear how much fucking construction there's going on over there? We're all going to view media differently, as colored by our unique experiences and perspectives. That is just a fact. I got a really thoughtful comment on the video where someone shared how the type of criticism I was making used to, in her teenage years, make her feel like her sapphic attraction was wrong. Like she was crossing a party line by enjoying this kind of scene. Do you see how this is helpful in building an understanding of how other people experience media? Do you see how this can go so much deeper than, gay women can like this too, how dare you? Also, stop talking. All of us can feel when a perspective is being shared as a hand reaching out to make a connection. And all of us can feel when a perspective is being shared as a door slamming in your face. Counterpoint number 3. Isn't this in line with Kratos' character / the world of Westeros / the real-life Middle Ages? When a writer makes a decision, they enshrine that decision in canon. Why does Kratos do this? Because that is what he does. Because that is what he's like. Because that's what his world is like. I run into this all the time, using the mere existence of something in the text as justification for its existence. It's cyclical. It's seeing a fact and forgetting that it was also a choice. One comment I got on the video said, yeah, a sex minigame with Aphrodite. It's Aphrodite. What else is she supposed to do? As if Aphrodite is a naturally occurring phenomenon in video games. As if every game about the Greek pantheon must feature an encounter in Aphrodite's bedchambers where she propositions the protagonist and he has the option to say yes. You can hopefully see how this type of thinking is a cop-out, leading us to justify anything without thinking about how or why it's there. If you want a horny character in your game, Aphrodite is a wonderful candidate. And sex is great. Have some, if you want. All I'm saying is, stop treating these decisions like they are naturally occurring. Just because it is, doesn't mean it has a good reason to be. Someone could say it was important for Kratos to shove this sex worker so we know that he's still haunted by the memory of the only woman he ever truly loved, and this is a misplaced act of aggression that demonstrates that he has a lot of personal growth and maturing to do, because we can rationalize anything. But ultimately, we must bottom out at the truthful answer. Kratos does things because the game developers told him to. And here's my favorite example. When I say, look at Kratos' face during these sex scenes, doesn't it seem like he's not experiencing any pleasure from this? And another person says, well, yeah, Kratos doesn't get pleasure from anything. That's who he is. Okay, so then what is he doing here? Why is he in this brothel? What's in it for him? Okay, if it's in Kratos' character to be completely disinterested in sex and only interested in vengeance, then why does it make sense for him to voluntarily enter side situations in which he is having sex?
He chose us. What about me?
Maybe he does it for the EXP. Maybe these women are soliciting him and paying with experience. Holy sh! Just saying, well, yeah, that's how Kratos is, cuts us off from exploring a lot of interesting questions. Everything that's in the game is in there. That's true. But why shouldn't we ask why? Why shouldn't we ask what this could mean, where this might have come from, and what it might say? It's way less fun if we don't. Sure, we'll never get a definitive answer, but there's so much potential insight into how creators create, what subconscious biases they might have had, what they might have thought their audience wanted. Like, what might it mean for us to avoid depicting male pleasure for a presumed male audience? Could this say something interesting about how the developers thought a man should be depicted on screen in a sexual scenario? It reminds me of Dan Olson's observation about the 50 Shades of Grey movie and its sequel, comparing the way a female director-screenwriter duo treated the male form in a sexual setting, versus the way the subsequent male director-screenwriter duo seemingly forgets to shoot the male form in a sexual setting during this sexual sex movie.
You can still totally tell that Sam Taylor Johnson and Kelly Marcel were replaced by men. There's a distinct discomfort with framing Christian's nudity in an overtly sexual manner meant for consumption, landing instead on self-depictions of masculinity that hetero men are more comfortable with. It may feel slight, the difference between a shot that says, this man is coming to f*** you, and one that says, look at this dude getting buff, but it's an aesthetic sensibility that pervades the visual language of the film.
We shouldn't forget that all of the elements present in our media are present there because they were put there by someone, on purpose or by accident. And both of those avenues are fair game to explore. Counterpoint number 4. Are you saying this kind of scene makes men sexist? No. But I am saying that it's reasonable to think that some of what we think is normal and acceptable and desirable is shaped by the media that we interact with. Our idea of reality is constructed not only by reality, but by depictions of reality. And those two things aren't always easy for us to disentangle, and that's not necessarily our fault. A lot of what we know about the world comes not only from just seeing it with our eyes, but hearing it secondhand, or learning about it from a movie, or a TV show, or a news program. And I know that this is weirdly controversial for some reason, but let me ask you a question. What is this? What is this thing? It's a defibrillator. Yeah, good. And we use it to fucking shock people, right? We've all seen that? Pop quiz. Right before someone is about to shock someone else with the defibrillator, what do they say? Clear. Right? We all just said it out loud just now together. Unless you're an EMT, in which case you might have said stand clear or clear to. But for the rest of us, I'm gonna put good money on the assumption that we have never seen a defibrillator used in real life. Most of us, anyway. So why did we say that before someone uses a defibrillator, they say clear? Well, probably because of this.
Clear! 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 Clear!
If it's safe to assume that a TV show can get some people to believe you should say clear before using a defibrillator, why do so many of us balk at the idea that some media might, in some people, reinforce ideas of how women fit into society or how it's acceptable to treat women? And why do so many of us balk at the idea that what is depicted in media might also reveal something about what the creators, and perhaps the culture, believed to be true and acceptable? No, I'm not saying that media like this makes men sexist. But when I see something like, say, repeat instances of bisexual-coded women waiting to initiate intimacy until a man becomes involved and takes charge, it makes me ask questions about whether that's related to how many men seem to feel emboldened to comment on or participate in moments of sapphic intimacy. So tastefully, very yes. Wait, what does this woman say?
Is there anything we can do to repay you?
What? I thought Kratos had just been lucky enough to stumble upon some extremely eager bisexuals. Are they just touching each other for his benefit? Are they even into this? Is this why some men still think that if two women are involved, they're just waiting for him to arrive? I was at a party and I met a girl I liked and we kissed, and immediately after, a guy came up to us to tell us how hot he thought that was. He would never have done that if one of us had been a guy. This feels like the kind of point that might get dismissed on a technicality, so let me elaborate. This was a guy I'd talked to once or twice. We were certainly not what I would call friends or even acquaintances. Still would have been weird if he was a good friend. This girl and I were sitting at a table in the corner of a crowded bar. He crossed the bar to let us know that he thought it was hot, that we kissed. If I'm having my first kiss with someone I like, I really don't want you, whoever you are, to come let me know that you got pleasure from it. Keep that to yourself, please. Some people don't treat that as a glimpse into a private part of some strangers' lives, but instead they treat it as a public spectacle that involves them enough that sharing their opinions of that intimacy with the participants is not weird and invasive. And before any of you say, well, you're in public, you have to know that people are watching you in public, imagine walking through a park wearing a red scarf and someone crosses the park to tell you, the color red really gets me going. You'd probably agree that this was a bridge too far. Like, that moment literally doesn't include you. Why are you making it include you? So then, yeah, when I see something like this,
Is there anything we can do to repay you?
I'm at least asking the question, what did the developers think the relationship between these two women was before Kratos showed up? They probably didn't think about it. It didn't matter to them. Are they lovers? Are they just touching each other for his benefit? These women are only here for Kratos. All that matters is what they can do for him. And I'm also asking the question, does this reinforce in anyone that female intimacy is inherently being presented for public participation? Even if we can never have a definitive answer, we make ourselves worse by not asking these questions. Counterpoint number 5. Are you saying it's always wrong to depict this kind of scene? No, I'm not. Some people really just love to jump to extremes. Play in the gray areas with me. It is okay to have scenes that depict sexism. It is okay to have scenes that depict sexual harassment.
Hey, we're doing a lunchtime survey of new students. Can you answer a few questions?
Okay.
Is your muffin buttered?
What?
Would you like us to assign someone to butter your muffin?
My what? Is he bothering you?
It is okay to have scenes that depict sex of all varieties. These are all parts of life. But we can also take seriously that sex, sexism, the role of women in a story can be done poorly, just as any other aspect of a story can be handled poorly. And we can take seriously that media is a part of what shapes our relationships with others, our relationships with ourselves, our understanding of consent, our understanding of how people flirt, how we should or shouldn't express ourselves in intimate contexts. So, let's discuss our reactions, as different as they might be, as hard as it is to understand each other sometimes. Let's talk about our personal experiences, and let's all continue shaping a media environment that is more representative and healthy and makes us feel good and still leaves room for us to feel a little spicy sometimes. So, finally, counterpoint number 6. What if she likes it? What if the fictional character likes to dress provocatively, likes to be seductive? What if she's totally into it? Good! That's honestly my favorite. Josh, my enabler, shared with me a Tumblr post about Power Girl and her boob window. It describes the reason for Power Girl's boob window throughout the ages. Apparently it started with one artist feeling like he wasn't getting properly supervised, and so he just kept drawing her boobs bigger and bigger until someone was like, what is up with these? Which is childish as fuck, but like funny, I guess. And then she just had big boobs, which was good for espionage. But then they apparently tried to give her boob window a tragic backstory.
People always ask me why I have this hole right here. They think I'm showing off or just being lewd. But the first time I made this costume, I wanted to have a symbol, like you. I just couldn't think of anything. I thought eventually I'd figure it out and close the hole. But I haven't.
How could this happen to me?
No! Don't give the cleavage a tragic backstory. We see right through that. The boobs showed up out of childishness and they stayed because big titty. It's just embarrassing to pretend around a justification. This is where I want to bring back the concept of load-bearing versus non-load-bearing story elements. This building is the titties. This column is the story explanation. You added this afterward to make it look like something was holding this up, but we can tell. And you didn't even need it in the first place.
Counterpoint 6.5, are you saying there can't be story reasons for big titty?
Now it's just like, she likes it. She has great tits and she wants to show them off and she feels good doing it and good for her. This is the best story reason to have a character with her tits out. Women can like to be hot. Women can like to have sex. Women can like to look good. Women can like how they look in a low-cut top. If your character is just like, yeah, I feel sexy, I'm really hot, and I'm feeling myself, then cool. That is a type of woman who can exist. Like, I love that for her. This way of writing women being sexy is just a lot more enjoyable than when a woman is put into a compromising situation for our sexual pleasure and she feels debased and scared. Why did we keep doing that? Writers, why did you love this so much? If you want a woman to take her shirt off in your show, best if she's doing it because she wants to. Scenes like this exist because we still present this idea that sexuality is, like, a dark force power. It's villain coded. If we want a light force girly to be sexualized, it had better be done against her will. For a girl to remain virtuous and desirable, for her to remain heroic, she has to be chaste and innocent and protecting of her virtue. But we also want her to be hot, and we want to be sexual at her, so let's just have a guy fall on her tits. Or let's have a villain turn her upside down. That way we can have a girl who's wifey material, but we can still ogle her. It's a win-win. If she wanted us to do it, if she got any pleasure from it, ew, that'd be a red flag. No one wants a girl who likes to be sexy. We want to put that unwillingly onto her.
Like in Nier Automata, if you twist the camera just right, you can see up 2B's skirt. But after you get a good look, she's demure enough to back away. She doesn't want you looking up there, you can. But she doesn't want you to. She's not a sexual creature, she's just an android in undies. So when you get an achievement for looking up her skirt 10 times, it's really just a meta commentary on, it's normal, actually, if you think about it. You know, the original mangaka intended an allusion to the final scene in The Grapes of Wrath. And, you know, upskirts are part of the deep lore of the world of Nier Automata. They're just being future historically accurate. The creator is a visionary. And anyway, it's not weird because they're just robots, you fucking moron.
The amount of cake they put on those robots are insane.
Also, there's a self-destruct button, and if you activate it, her dress blows up. But that's neither here nor there. It's actually really normal.
What about the top of her costume?
Okay, there is something kinda uncomfortable about having to hurt them to get them naked. It's weird how much work the developers did to tie pain and discomfort to the sex appeal that they didn't have to bestow upon these robots.
It's cute how she backs away.
Okay, let's wrap this up. 2 days before I uploaded the God of War video, somebody I used to work with sent me a text message that just said, "You should send me some spicy pics." We used to live in the same city. I'd asked him out before and he'd said no. We coexisted amicably and then I moved away. And so we just kind of naturally stopped talking as distance caused the friendship to fade. And then after months of casual no contact, I got that text message. "You should send me some spicy pics." Everything about it fascinated me. The wording, "you should." As if this weren't just a favor to him. As if somehow this should make sense to me. The timing. Did this guy really think this was the best way to re-enter my life? Did he think that just because I'd asked him out before meant that this wasn't weird? Even if I've asked you out, even if we do go out, you do not have an all-access pass. For some reason, a lot of guys in my life think it's okay to ask for images of my body before even saying, "How are you?" Or think that the first thing I want to hear after kissing a girl I like is, "Wow, that was hot. Did that feel as good as it looked?" No, I'm not joking. For some reason, a lot of guys in my life, normal guys, friends of mine, guys I love very much, think that if a woman is dancing with another woman, those two women can be catcalled. My buddy is a fitness influencer, and she was showing me the kinds of comments she gets on a regular basis. Things like, "Ew, shave your legs," or, "I wouldn't." Counterpoint number 7, people make invasive comments about men too. Cool, speak up about that. Be the motherfucking change. We often focus on wife-beating, loud and proud, the wage gap isn't real anti-feminists as the last bastions, the final bosses of misogyny. But reality is trickier than that. As I say with the defibrillator example, there are ideas that get put into our heads that we might autopilot into, and that doesn't make us sheep or bad people. But also, we need to embrace opportunities to look at these behaviors and ask, where did this come from? And do I need this? What should I do with it? The point of implicit biases is we all have them. It's not a question of good people and bad people. What makes you a good person is recognizing that you have the potential to hurt someone by accident or behave weirdly by accident, and that you probably have, and that you want to learn how to do that less. I still love you. I still love me. This is an all of us thing. I'm proud of that last video because I think it's important to sometimes make these conversations fun and funny. But either way, I'm gonna keep having them because clearly I still need to. They're never gonna be cut and dry, and they're never gonna be absolute, and they're never gonna be easy. But thanks for being here with me to keep them going. Appreciate you listening. Bye.